Welcome to today's edition of MHTV News. I'm Tyler Davis.
And I'm Oliver Zylstra. Stay tuned for today's top stories.
Yesterday at around 10:15 p.m., Angelica Volsi, an 18-year-old junior high school student of the Borgen Township, was hit by an Infiniti G35 driven by a woman heading south at the intersection of Route 130. The driver had a green light according to authorities, but this was a hit and run. Angelica was taken to Capital Health Regional Medical Center and was pronounced dead at around 11 p.m. Her aunt said she was walking home from work when this tragic accident took place. This student's loss is being felt deeply within our school and community, said the principal, Robert Walder. Grief counselors have been brought in for the students at Bordentown High School this week.
Next, we have the destruction of half the U.S. Jonah, what do you have for us?
Good day. Welcome to today's edition of MHTV News. I am Jonah Jelsey. Today we have terrifying reports of half of America disappearing. We have footage from the event in California, one of the many places where half of America is being drowned in water. Warning, this footage may seem disturbing to people of a young age. The white on the map represents areas of the country that are already flooded. We are calling this the worst flood since the dawn of humans. This picture shows the areas expected to be affected by this great flood. The United States of America has issued a state of emergency and highly suggests that anyone within the highlighted area should be evacuated. This is Jonah Jelsey signing off. Stay safe and good luck.
Now we have Alexis coming to us with a story about a stabbing in Montclair.
Good afternoon. I'm Alexis Williams reporting from Aldrin Middle School with some breaking news. 3 days ago, a 20-year-old girl named Erika Towns was found stabbed to death on Hartley Street, Montclair, New Jersey. Erika Towns was from Orange, New Jersey. She was coming to Montclair to visit her friends before she went away to Virginia Beach for vacation. She was found stabbed to death when police arrived. Witnesses say that they heard her scream for help and ran outside immediately and saw a man stabbing her repeatedly. Later that night, Erika Towns' ex-boyfriend turned himself in. Elijah Broom's 20-year-old man of Orange, New Jersey, has been charged with murder of Erika Towns. He is being held at Essex County Judicial. I'm Alexis Williams from Aldrin Middle School. Back to the studio.
Gibson has a report on a Montclair child who was diagnosed with cancer and the steps being taken to extend his life. Gibson?
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I am Gibson Adams reporting from MHTV. In early May, a teacher's son who works at Bullock School in Montclair, Cole, was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma. Cole seemed healthy until he was diagnosed with neuroblastoma, which is a fast-moving cancer in the form of a tumor. There were no signs that Cole was sick until they realized that he had a stiff neck. Their pediatrician then ordered blood work, follow-up blood work from Hackensack ER, from just a small mass on his kidney to a CT scan that showed a bigger problem. Cole is in good hands and is hopefully going to take a year for him to recover. The family is looking for your help and generosity by donating blood to Cole. To donate to Cole's fight against the disease, visit GoFundMe. I am Gibson Adams from MHTV.
Next, Ben has a report on gunshots that were fired in Newark. Ben?
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Davis reporting for MHTV News. Recently, the Newark police reported the arrest of Jonathan J. Morales. He is a 26-year-old Newark resident. He was arrested for aggravated assault and weapon possession. Morales was found after the police officers were patrolling the 100 block of Chadwick Avenue. They heard shots fired shortly after midnight and went to investigate it. Upon arrival, they found that the suspect fired a shot at a male after an argument, who then fled the scene on foot. After they made the arrest, they found 2 loaded 9mm handguns that Morales dropped once he fled. One of the handguns was reported stolen from South Carolina. Also, Morales was reported to be found with 4 glassine bags of heroin. This is Ben Davis reporting for MHTV News. Back to the studio.
A person was shot while driving on Route 33. Sophia has more.
Good afternoon. I'm Sophia Cholera coming to you from MHTV News. Thank you for joining us. There has been a horrible shooting that occurred on May 4th where a woman named Calhoun was driving on Route 33 and was shot and killed. The woman was a 24-year-old mother in a vehicle with her 1-year-old child and boyfriend. At 11:45, the alleged shooter, Kadar Mustafa, shot Cecilia. Killer Kadar Mustafa is being charged for murder as well as on trial for other murders in early April. Investigators are still waiting to find out if there's a connection to a shooting on April 27th in Neptune and a shooting on April 28th in Halmadel. I'm Sophia Kalra reporting to you from MHTV News. We will see you next time when we have more information on the story. Thanks for joining us.
A dance studio in Edgewater caught flames earlier. Sophia has the story.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jaxler from MHTV News, reporting a fire at the Professional Arts Academy in Edgewater, New Jersey. It was last Monday at around 7 p.m. when Samara Lee and around 5 other girls in the dance studio smelled something burning. When Samara opened the door to get some fresh air, there was a huge fire down the steps. They ran to the balcony and people started to rush with ladders, but all of the ladders were too short. Since all of the ladders were too short, the girls had to jump down. A Burl salesman says that the thick smoke from the fire was visible from Manhattan. 10 to 15 girls suffer minor injuries, but no one is seriously injured. Officials say that there are no reports of anyone missing in the fire and that nobody knows what the cause of the fire was. Firefighters thankfully got the fire under control at around 9:45 p.m. I'm Sophia Jaxler from MHTV News.
We'll be back after this quick break.
This is my second time being in the class. So there's many projects that we do. Mostly we are on the computers being taught lessons. We learn a lot about how to make, we learn about taxes, we learn how hard it is to survive on your own. We also learn how hard it is to make our own company and the problems that come with it and the risks you need to take. So the first project that we start is called How Will I Survive? The next one is you pick a number and you get a billionaire and you do a project on that billionaire. And the final project is the main, obviously, where you make your own company and you need to go through all the steps and it's very complicated, but it's a lot of fun. You take no tests, actually only quizzes, and they're vocabulary quizzes. Mr. Lasovita says that that he doesn't like how quizzes and tests determine your grade, so he does it by projects mostly. You get a decent amount of homework, but not all of it is long or hard. All of the projects you do in class, and so most of the homework is either vocabulary or like 2 paragraphs at most. A lot of people can take the class. It's just I think the max is 23. But because that's how many computers we have. I thought it was interesting how we learned how to be a millionaire, and I loved the class last year, so I decided to do it again this year.
Welcome back to MHTV News. Luis Vasquez, a 37-year-old employee at a car service in Hackettstown, is accused of kidnapping his manager to pay child support. The incident started when Luis asked his manager if he could borrow money to pay his child support. The manager responded by telling Luis that it was against policy to loan money to new employees. The very next day, Vasquez came into work and demanded money from the manager. He used a knife to threaten the manager. The manager was scared he might lose his life, so he took Vasquez into his car and drove to a bank on John Street. The manager then told a bank teller that he had been kidnapped and the police were called. Vasquez fled on foot, but was later caught by police.
Kome has more about a murder in Irvington. Kome?
Good morning and thank you for joining us. My name is Kome Murungi and I'm here to report the terrible news about the murderer Rick King, who murdered a lone witness to a robbery to keep the witness from testifying against him. Rick committed this crime with a pistol and shot him from point-blank range. Rick King was given a life sentence for the murder he committed on Amit Patel, who was working at his father's liquor store. He was also given a consecutive 40-year sentence because of the robbery. According to the authorities, on February 15, 2015, King went to Roseway Liquors on Lyons Avenue, Irvington, and shot Patel in the head as he worked the counter. Patel died at the scene. In December, the jury found King guilty of murder, witness tampering, armed robbery, aggravated assault on a police officer, and weapons offenses. Thank you again. I'm Komen Murungi from MHTV. Go back to the studio.
Asher has a report about a bus crash in the Lincoln Tunnel. Asher?
Good evening. I'm Asher Kaufman reporting for MHTV. On the Friday morning of May 18th, 2 buses crashed, injuring dozens of people, according to an FDNY spokesman. The crash took place shortly after 10 a.m. outside of the center tube of the Lincoln Tunnel. According to the FDNY spokesman, at least 32 injuries have been confirmed. Of those 32 individuals who have been injured, 25 of them suffered minor injuries. The other 7 suffered serious but non-fatal injuries. 2 of the injured were sent to the St. Luke's Hospital. Both of the buses in the crash were operated by NJ Transit. The NJ Transit bus number 165 was carrying 35 passengers when it made contact with the rear of the NJ Transit bus number 193, which was carrying 25 passengers at the time, says an NJ Transit spokeswoman. Traffic was increased heavily due to the accident. The road to the tunnel has been closed and blocked off. I'm Asher Kaufman for MHTV, and back to the studio.
There was a kidnapping attempt in Montclair. Remi has a story.
Good morning. I'm Remi Antinoro reporting from Aldrin Middle School with some breaking news. Last Friday, a little girl was walking on Midland Ave by Brunswick when a driver pulled up to her and said, "Come on, get in the car," before he sped away southbound on Midland Ave. According to police, the man was in a silver or gray Honda Accord with tinted windows when he approached the 12-year-old girl. Police also said that the man was described as a white 70-year-old male with gray hair. No other description or info about him was available right after. There have been many incidents like this in Montclair between young children and adults over the past few years. This has been the latest one. I'm Remi Antinoro from Aldrin Middle School.
Chris has a report on a kidnapping in Hackensack.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Borgen from MHTV News. Last Thursday and Friday, an unexpected crime occurred when a worker kidnapped his boss. The man in question is Luis Vascones. He is charged with kidnapping, robbery, unlawful possession of a weapon for unlawful purposes, and terroristic threats. Last Thursday, Vascones called his boss, pleading for help paying child support fees. The next day, Vascones showed up at his job, or a car and limo, to meet with his boss. When they met, though, Vascones was holding a knife. Vascones forced his boss into his own car. While in the car, Vascones reportedly said, "I have nothing to lose. I'll kill you." He then told them to drive to Connect One Bank on Railroad Avenue. Once they arrived at the bank, Vascones made his boss go into the bank and get money while he stayed in the car. When the boss got into the bank, he told the teller that he was being kidnapped. The teller then called the police and notified them of the situation. Vascones was remanded to Borgen County Jail. He is pending a court appearance. From MHTV News, I'm Chris Borgen. See you next time.
Kaeja has an update on the Bill Cosby trial.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kaeja Green reporting for MHTV. Bill Cosby has been guilty on all 3 counts in assault trial. He drugged and sexually assaulted Andrea Constant at his home in Philadelphia suburb in 2004. Bill Cosby, who is 80 years old, will face up to 10 years in prison. In addition, 5 other women testified that Cosby had drugged them and then assaulted them decades ago. As prosecutors sought to prove Cosby's actions towards Constant were part of a pattern. Cosby was a groundbreaking actor and the first African-American performer to win an Emmy for his role on I Spy. Everybody got to see who he really is when each of those prior bad act witnesses got to testify. The guy was an actor for a long time, Still said. Thursday, Bill Cosby's wife is very disappointed, but he is trying to keep his spirits up. He doesn't want anybody to look or act guilty. I'm Kaeja Green.
Thank you for watching today's episode of MHTV News. I'm Oliver.
And I'm Tyler. We'll see you next time.